The credit union called on a Thursday afternoon. I was finishing up a roofing job, last house on a development project we'd been working for 3 months. Hot day, tired crew, everyone ready to be done. My phone rang and I almost didn't answer, but it was a number I recognized from our business account. The woman on the line asked if I was aware of the large withdrawal made that morning. I said no, asked how large. She said $47,000, nearly everything in our business account. I climbed down from the roof. Asked her to repeat that. She did. Said my wife Melissa had come in that morning with a cashier's check request. Withdrew $47,000, left maybe $3,000 in the account. The woman said she'd called because it was unusual, wanted to make sure I was aware. I thanked her, hung up, called Melissa, straight to voicemail. Called again, same thing. Tried the house phone, no answer. I told my crew to finish without me. Drove home 20 minutes over the speed limit. Melissa's car wasn't in the driveway. I let myself in, called her name. Nothing. The house felt wrong immediately. Too quiet, too empty. I went upstairs. Her closet was half empty. Drawers in the bathroom cleared out. Her jewelry box gone from the dresser. I stood in our bedroom trying to process what I was seeing. My wife had withdrawn our entire business savings and disappeared. I called her phone again. This time it rang once, then went to voicemail like she'd declined the call. I texted her, "Where are you?" The credit union called. No response. I called her mother, asked if she'd heard from Melissa today. Her mom said no, asked why. I said I was trying to reach her. It was important. Her mom said she'd tell Melissa to call me if she heard from her. I didn't mention the money. I went back downstairs, started looking for clues I'd missed. Mail on the counter, nothing unusual. Her laptop was gone. The iPad we shared was still there. I opened it, checked her email. Nothing recent. Checked messages. Nothing. I sat at the kitchen table and tried to think. $47,000. Our entire operating capital for the roofing business. Money we needed for materials, payroll, equipment repairs. Without it, we couldn't finish jobs, couldn't pay the crew. We'd default on contracts. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. A man's voice asked if this was regarding Melissa. I said yes. Who is this? He said his name was Rick, that Melissa had asked him to call me, that she was safe but needed some time away, that she'd explain everything soon. I asked where she was. He said he couldn't tell me that. I asked who he was. He said he was a friend helping her through a difficult time. I asked about the money. He said that was between me and Melissa. He was just calling to let me know she was okay. I told him to put Melissa on the phone. He said she wasn't ready to talk to me yet. I said she'd stolen nearly $50,000 from our business account and I needed answers now. He said he understood I was upset, but she'd be in touch when she was ready. Then he hung up. I called back. The number went straight to a disconnected message. I sat there for another hour trying to figure out what to do. Called my lawyer, got voicemail, left a message saying it was urgent. Called my business partner Dave, told him what happened. He went silent for a long moment, then asked if I was serious. I said completely. Dave said we had payroll due tomorrow. 3 guys, 2 weeks of work each. Plus we owed the supplier for materials delivered last week. Without that money, we were dead in the water. I said I knew. I called the bank back, asked if there was any way to reverse the withdrawal. The woman said no, Melissa was an authorized signer on the account. She had every right to withdraw the funds. I asked if they could at least tell me if she'd deposited the check somewhere. She said she couldn't share that information. I drove to the police station, explained the situation to an officer at the front desk. He said if we were married and it was a joint account, there was nothing they could do. It wasn't theft if she had legal access to the money. I said she'd cleaned out our business account without telling me. He said that was a civil matter. I'd need to handle it through divorce proceedings or a lawsuit. I went home, sat in the living room trying to understand what had happened. We'd been married 11 years, ran the business together, or so I'd thought. She handled the books, managed contracts, dealt with clients. I ran the crews, did the actual roofing work. We'd built something good, or I'd believed we had. My lawyer called back later. I explained everything. He said the first priority was protecting what assets remained. That I should immediately open a new business account in just my name, move the remaining funds there, Remove Melissa's access to any accounts she could still touch. I did that immediately. Moved the $3,000 to a new account. Checked our personal accounts. Our joint checking had $500. Our savings had $12,000. I moved half of the savings to the new account, left the rest. Wanted to be fair, even though she hadn't been. The next morning, I had to tell my crew I couldn't make payroll. Dave and I pooled what cash we had personally, managed to cover most of it, promised them the rest by next week. They were understanding, but I could see the worry on their faces. These guys had families, mortgages, bills. I called every client we had active contracts with, explained there'd been a business emergency, we might need to delay completion by a week or two. Most were understanding. One threatened to sue for breach of contract. I couldn't blame him. Melissa called 3 days later. I almost didn't recognize her voice. She sounded so different, calm, distant, like she was reading from a script. She said she was sorry for leaving the way she did, but she'd needed to get out, that our marriage had been over for a long time and she couldn't do it anymore. I asked about the money. She said she'd taken what was rightfully hers, that she'd worked just as hard building the business as I had, that she deserved half. I told her taking it all wasn't half. She said she'd needed it to start over, get away clean, that I could have what was left. I asked where she was. She wouldn't say. I asked who Rick was. She said he was someone who'd helped her see that she deserved better than our marriage. I asked if she'd been having an affair. She said it wasn't like that. He was just a friend who'd supported her decision to leave. I told her she destroyed the business, that we couldn't finish jobs, couldn't pay people, were at risk of losing everything we'd built. She said that wasn't her problem anymore, that I'd figure it out like I always did, that she was done carrying the weight of the business and the marriage. I asked her to at least return half the money so we could survive. She said no, that she'd earned it and she was keeping it. I said we'd have to sell the house to cover business debts. She said fine, sell it. She didn't care. She hung up. I tried calling back multiple times. She'd blocked my number. My lawyer said I could sue her for the money, but it would take months and cost legal fees we couldn't afford. That our best bet was to file for divorce and try to recoup losses through asset division. But even then, if she'd already spent the money or hidden it, there might be nothing left to divide. Dave and I managed to keep the business limping along. We took out a small business loan, barely qualified for it, used it to cover immediate expenses, started working longer hours, taking on smaller jobs that paid quickly. It was brutal, but we survived. The divorce took 14 months. Melissa never showed up for any hearings. Her lawyer represented her remotely. She'd apparently moved to another state, refused to disclose where. The judge wasn't happy about it, but couldn't force her to appear. We split the house sale proceeds 50-50 after paying off the mortgage. I got the business since she'd abandoned it. She got to keep the money she'd taken since proving she'd stolen it from herself was impossible legally. The judge called it a wash, said we were even. It didn't feel even. I never found out who Rick really was. If he was a boyfriend, a friend, or someone she'd hired to help her escape. It didn't matter much in the end. The business survived. Barely. Took us 2 years to rebuild what she destroyed in one morning. We lost several long-term clients who couldn't wait for us to get stable again. Had to let go of one crew member who found steadier work elsewhere. But we made it. I ran into Melissa's mother about 3 years after everything. She was at a grocery store, looked older, tired. She apologized for what her daughter had done, said Melissa had called her once from somewhere in Arizona, sounded different, wouldn't explain why she'd left the way she did, said she hadn't heard from her since. I told her I hoped Melissa had found whatever she was looking for. I meant it too. The anger had faded by then, replaced by something like pity. You don't blow up your entire life and run away unless you're running from something deeper than just a marriage or a business. I never remarried. Dated a few people, but nothing serious. The betrayal had made me careful in ways that didn't work well with relationships. I couldn't fully trust anyone who got too close to the business finances, couldn't share control the way I'd shared it with Melissa. Dave and I restructured everything. 2 separate accounts, clear division of responsibilities, checks and balances so one person couldn't clean out the company and disappear. It was cynical but necessary. The business is solid now. We're doing well, have steady contracts, good crews, but I never stopped thinking about that Thursday afternoon when the credit union called. How your entire life can change based on one person's decision. How someone you've known for 11 years can become a stranger in an instant. I still have the voicemail from that first call, the credit union woman's voice asking if I was aware of the large withdrawal. I kept it as a reminder, not of Melissa's betrayal, but of my own blindness. I'd trusted completely, never questioned, never checked the accounts myself, just assumed we were building something together. That assumption cost me nearly $50,000 and 2 years of rebuilding. But it taught me something valuable about vigilance, about not outsourcing your awareness to someone else just because you trust them, about keeping one eye on the foundation even when everything looks solid. These days I check the business accounts daily, sign off on every major expense personally. It's probably excessive, but I sleep better knowing exactly where every dollar goes. Dave understands. He does the same thing. Sometimes I wonder what Melissa's doing now. If she's happy, if that money bought her whatever she was looking for. If she ever thinks about the business we built together and how she destroyed it in one morning. If she regrets it, or if she's moved on completely, become someone new in Arizona or wherever she ended up. Mostly, though, I don't think about her at all. She's just someone I used to know, someone who taught me an expensive lesson about trust. The business survived. I survived. That's enough. And as always, thanks for watching. Like, share, and let's know what you think. See you in the next one. Peace.